Broads Media.
I am so fired up for this game against the Heat. You have no idea. And a part of me is actually stunned with myself for feeling this type of adrenaline because it hasn't happened all year. And maybe that's why. Maybe that is the result of having meaningless basketball for basically all year long. And don't get me wrong, there's some side stories that are interesting and whatnot. But from a full body of work perspective, you're lying if you thought that this regular season moved the needle for you like some previous years. It just wasn't the case. And for me, it was sort of blah. But now that we got a game with Jimmy Butler on the other side, that is insanely meaningful, and Erik Spoelstra versus Nick Nurse, I am probably going to lose sleep because of how excited I am for it to be Wednesday at 7 o'clock so we can see the tip happen. That's how juiced I am for it. And Nick Nurse was brought in here for a reason. He was brought in here to be a tactician, and while there's only one coach that I think is actually better than him, and you're unfortunately facing him in this first little play-in tournament, your job is to have the answers. So I need to see him out-coach Erik Spoelstra in a one-game, must-win game. And it is must-win because seeing the Boston Celtics in round one compared to not being on the same path as them until the Eastern Conference Finals could be the difference in a first-round exit or finally getting over the hump. The goal is to win a championship. It's not just get to the Eastern Conference Finals, but you have to take that first step before you can get both feet down in the NBA Finals. So, yeah, I mean, it is important to note that it is time to finally get past that brutal second round that's been a kryptonite forever now. So, let's look at this. The Miami Heat is not going to have Terry Rozier, and the moment that notification hit all of our phones, I'm sure we were like, all right, hey, look, injuries suck, and we want every team that we see to be as healthy as humanly possible, but sometimes things do happen, and it looks like that they're dealing with an injury with Terry Rozier. That's an important player for them that they're going to be missing, and that does help out the Sixers for sure. But, man, I'm really excited for Maxi's rise. There's no doubt about it that he's aware that it's his time, okay? It's his time to be what we thought James Harden was going to be last season, which is a massive description to put on a 20-plus-something-year-old kid. Yo, go be James Harden. We can mock James Harden all we want, but to ask a guard who's been in the league for, 3 or 4 years now to have the ability to do what he does when he's playing his best ball, when James Harden is scoring 40 points in a playoff game, that's winning you the game. He's doing that. Now, it just comes with the downfall of a 3-point game, a 5-point game, a 7-point game, which I don't anticipate having from Maxey. But the fact that he watched James Harden last year with Joel Embiid in that two-man game, and it didn't pan out, and they fumbled the bag in Game 6 down the stretch. They fumbled the bag even more so in Game 7, and he gets an opportunity on the biggest stage after having to deal with no Joel in fourth quarters, clutch moments. The ball was in his hands, and the pressure was on him, and he delivered more times than not to be able to do it at this time of the season when the city sort of has this optimism. They know. I think they're feeling exactly what we're feeling. I think they're feeling the excitement and the belief and it being sort of a, hey, look, we have Joel Embiid back. Hey, look, we have Tyrese Maxey. Hey, look, we have Kelly Oubre, and now we don't have to lean on Tobias Harris to be a reliable source, because whenever you do that, you fail miserably. So now he's not really reliable as a third guy. Hell, maybe not even a fourth guy. Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe it's a Kyle Lowry that steps up. Nick Nurse and him have one hell of a history together. All right, they've won a championship together in the past, and this guy's IQ is outrageous. Give him the ball in pressured situations in the playoffs at home when, you got to give this crowd something to cheer for early. What you can't have happen is you're climbing from behind for the first three quarters, and it always seems like you're out of reach. You're out of grasp. You cut it to 7, Miami puts it back up to 11. You cut it to 8, Miami up 14. It can't be you're chugging along, doing everything in your power to scrap your way, to tie it up with 4 minutes to go in the fourth. What you need to do is let this fan base take over. Let the obnoxious crowd make it go the other way, meaning that you're up 8. Go on a 6-0 run. Make it 14. Don't look back. All right? Jimmy Butler here in boo! 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 Every time he touches the basketball, he's shooting 2 of 9 from the floor. Just can't get out of it. And then after every miss, after every air ball, after every turnover, sloppy passes, maybe an offensive foul, Joel Embiid, he's in the lane. It's a charge, baby, offensive foul. The ref does the 5 skip, whistle blow, point the other way, and Jimmy Butler starts to yap and bitch in the ref's face. You can tell he's getting frustrated, and then the whole crowd goes, Tobias, Tobias, Tobias. That would never happen. That would never happen. But whatever. My point is, let the fan base be a part of the action. And the only way that happens is when you ball out and you dominate and you take control of the entire game. We'll sense it in that building. And there's nothing better than when you have to force the opposing team to call a timeout in your gym because they are overwhelmed and they're playing sloppy. Should we be afraid of Eric Spoelstra and playoff Jimmy Butler, even though that I don't think that they are a scary team? Probably. And I think it's more because of the PTSD of Sixers basketball more than it is the Heat. And I'm not trying to downplay them and their success that they've had in a very similar spot in years past. And they make a run when everybody counts them out. There's just something about their DNA that wins a bunch of basketball games, right? So I think it's more, though, just when will it be our turn? And we haven't seen it be our turn in so long that I am afraid to emotionally commit. So I think it's more a Sixers front. I think it's more Sixers related than anything else. It's less opponent wise. Even if they were playing a different team in the play-in or, seeing the Knicks in the first round potentially, I've already heard some Sixers fans go, I don't know if they could beat Jalen Brunson. And the only reason why you're saying that is because you are afraid to emotionally open up because Joel Embiid is way better than Jalen Brunson. Not just better, way better than Jalen Brunson. And in this league, when you have the best star, more times than not, you get the best record in a 7-game series. You get the 4 before the other team gets the 4, and you're advancing while the other team is taking the golf clubs and trying to swing them like Charles Barkley. You know what I'm saying? So I'm super excited. I am so pumped. This isn't going to be a walk in the park by any means, but I do think that you can keep a reasonable distance throughout this one. I think you have more pieces and the ability to put together a better plan with the roster the Sixers have compared to the roster that the Miami Heat have. Embiid is better than Jimmy Butler. Maybe the Miami Heat do stuff to make Joel Embiid very uncomfortable, and then it's on Maxey. Let's put the plate, or let's put, the game on the line with Tyrese Maxey, this young 20-year-old, instead of Joel Embiid. Let's dare him to do it. Now, maybe that's stupid because he can do it, okay? But if you're just playing the percentage game and the numbers game, if you're trying to defend the Sixers, do you let Joel Embiid eat? Or you could go with the mentality of let Joel score 2s, let him take mid-range jumpers. You won't die if that's the case. And he'll probably miss some jumpers. He won't be the most efficient in the world. Even if he is, you could live with 2-point shots. Don't put him on the line. Don't foul him. Live with those jump shots. Take away shots from everybody else, and you can survive by knocking down threes and playing our brand offensively. If we go 3 for 2, even 2 for 2 at times, let him drop 48. But if he drops 48 and nobody everybody else gets going, then we're in business here. It'll be fascinating to see the Eric Spoelstra motto. And we do think, right, that the zone is going to be in play. And I just don't know if you pool when everybody thinks you're going to push. There were quotes already from a couple different guys, Kelly Oubre, from Nick Nurse, discussing, hey, we know what's coming. We've seen it on film. We watched how they utilize maybe some pressure early as we're dribbling the ball up the floor. They're establishing their zone and applying pressure at the same time. They're doing certain things with their wings. Well, if I'm Eric Spoelstra and I hear that, it's either I'm going to push when they think we are pulling, or I lean into it and say, okay, let me see you beat it first. Because we've watched the Sixers play hoops, and there's something traumatic about their zone. The Miami Heat zone causes a bunch of people problems. You can show yourself what we do, but nobody's been able to figure it out enough. So fine, we'll commit to it. We'll have a backup plan. We'll have a game plan B, game plan C, just in case they do find deficiencies somehow in our zone. But we got another one up our sleeve or something like that. It goes back to Nick Nurse was hired here to have all the answers that Brett Brown didn't, that Doc Rivers didn't. Even though you go back to that Brett Brown series against Nick Nurse and the Toronto Raptors, I actually thought when you looked at the roster and the limitations of it, that you ended up doing everything you possibly could to counter every move Nick Nurse had until the very end. You just didn't have any bullets left. You did everything that made sense, but at some particular time, the Raptors just had more. They had more to give, and there was no more adjustments you could possibly make throughout a 7-game series. Normally, once you get to 7 games, you all have taken your best shot, and then the 7th game kind of comes down to it is what it is. But each team countered with their own stuff, and they all tried everything they probably could, except for maybe one extra bullet they're keeping just in case, potentially, and that could be the separator. That could be the difference in getting over the hump or not. I can't wait. I am so fucking excited for this basketball game, and I'm so happy that I'm this excited because the Sixers haven't moved me in a long time. And I'm very aggravated that that's the case. I love basketball, and me sitting here right now in my feelings remind me of how much I truly love it, but it has not impacted my life very strongly, and it's disappointing. I don't want it to ever get like that again. This regular season was tough. It was really brutal for me, but right now it's time to just shut up. Okay, who cares? Who cares? Because now every dribble matters. Every possession matters. A 4-point swing feels like a 15-point swing in the regular season, right? I mean, that's how much it seems when someone gets 2 buckets in a row and you also get 2 stops in a row, all the momentum is flying in your way. You start to irrationally think, hey, are we making a 6-0 run, 8-0 run, blow them out the building? It is that meaningful when you hit a jump shot. It is that important when you hit 2 threes in a row and you're on a 6-0 swing. And the feeling that it's at home is also going to make it that much more entertaining. Even though being on the road and hearing a crowd shut up when it's the 4th quarter, it's a 3-point game and things are really close, and Joel Embiid hits a 3 at the top of the perimeter, and the whole fans that were cheering as loud as possible go, oh, and they deflate together, and you hear, 22,000 at the same time go, oh, my God, boo! Yeah, I'd be booing, too, if Joel Embiid was whooping my ass. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's take some Anytime Hotline calls. I want to hear from the great people on the Anytime Hotline sharing their thoughts on this matchup and what we're going to see Wednesday night. Let's do it.
Yeah, what up, bro? It's first time caller out the Big H. Man, I think that we're really exacerbating the situation. I think right now, especially with the role players that we have, the Sixers should be really confident going into this game. Like, just thinking about players like Nicholas Batum. He fits perfectly, man. Like, the shot looks so crisp. Like a Wawa hoagie during a field trip as a kid, with the lemonade, man, it just fits so perfectly in my life. But let me stop reminiscing because we don't have that in Houston, man. But also with the emergence of Kelly Oubre just doing his thing, other people have the capacity to get hot and put pressure, take all the pressure off of Joel. And Maxey looks like another emerging star that we have. He has the ability to do it and get things done. I'm confident with this team, and I think it might be the best that we've ever seen in my lifetime towards the ability to make it to the playoffs and get in and try to win something big. So, I don't know. I really like these teams' chances. And we should be locked in and ready to go.
It's definitely the best roster they've had. Before, they used Amir Johnson. They had Greg Monroe. These were the type of pieces that you were asking to do something. Shake Milton, Furkan Korkmaz. Right now, you're in a position where DeAnthony Melton's not available, which sucks because he is a solid two-way guard for you. He brings some athleticism. He's definitely a piece that helps you when he's on his A game, and he hasn't been right all season long. But between him and Robert Covington not being on the floor, in years past, if two of your bench role pieces were gone, they were calling you off the street. They were calling me off the street. They were relying on nobodies. Now there's still Buddy Hield. Now there's still Campaign. Now there's still bodies that actually can play at an NBA role player level that's sitting in the mix with all them. You mentioned Batum, although you might be in a scenario where Batum needs to be relied on heavily and Tobias Harris isn't there, and then Tobias is more of a role player, minute eater, and Batum logs more innings, or there's just some variation of multiple guys, 15 minutes, 18 minutes, 15 minutes, instead of one playing 36 minutes or something like that, like Tobias in years past would play 39 minutes or something like that. Maybe they distribute it differently to throw different looks at the direction of the opponent. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I just can't even fathom watching previous Sixers teams and hearing that two of your bench players won't be there, yet still having enough firepower to imagine a world where they run competent offense and actually drill some damn shots. Now, it comes down to, can Buddy Hield be lights out? Because if he shoots 1 for 7 from 3, that's a demoralizer. I think that will suck the life out of the building. Keeping the building involved and engaged is so important. It can't be that, you know, that feeling, and I think we actually felt it a tad in the NLCS for Game 6 and Game 7, because you're at home, there's added pressure to get it done, you should beat the Diamondbacks, and the Heat are better than the Diamondbacks at the NLCS level, I do believe in that. But you know where the angst is there and everyone's uncomfortable? There's a lot of nervous energy in the ballpark. Well, I don't want it to get to the point where there's nervous energy in the Wells Fargo Center. The only way to do that is to keep a good, comfortable lead and to shoot well and to see rhythm in the offense and for it to sort of have a flow to it. If it's choppy, if you start out the gate with 9 straight possessions of ugliness, 3 turnovers, you think at some point that they get out of that funk. But if you're down 15 and you're playing catch-up from the rip, I'm telling you, that angst is absolutely going to be in there. And it's important to this because if Buddy Hield is shooting 1 for 8 from 3, or he's shooting 1 for 7 from 3, and every time he lets it rip, you get the angst from the crowd. At some point, it's going to take over, and you could tell that it's crushing. It's crushing, and then he's going to have a wide open look. Does he hesitate? Does he shoot it and make it 1 for 9, or does he pass up a wide open look to pass to somebody else who's now forced to take a contested jump shot because he's not feeling himself, and he knows that everybody's sort of giving him a rough edge here. You know, it's like everyone's giving him a rough groan. I don't know. So, moral of the story is, let's get Buddy Hield rocking early. Couple of shots, maybe a little 2-man game. If Embiid's going to pass the rock around the perimeter because he's getting double-teamed, then there should be plenty of possessions where there's not a defender even close to him. They also have to break down this zone, though. They have to break down this zone. Okay, what else is next?
Hey, bros, I'm calling in with some thoughts regarding the Sixers Heat's playing game. Really curious to hear your show to see what most people's thoughts and feelings are. I think most people are going to be kind of a little hesitant, maybe a little concerned, maybe not. But for me, man, we about to whoop the Heat. We gonna whoop them tricks. I'm tired of playing it. Oh, I'm not sure. Nah, Embiid is reasonably healthy. He should be well rested. We gonna dominate the Heat. Let's go.
I'm right there with you, baby. I'm all fired up. And my X factor, I think is Buddy Hield, but I just forget X Factor. Just somebody that I'm looking forward to seeing is I think Kyle Lowry is going to be such a huge piece to this from a veteran leader. Moment doesn't get too big. Put the ball in his hands. Let him close out. And no disrespect to anybody else on this team, but if it's a close game, if it's a 4-point game, 6 minutes to go, possessions matter that much. I don't know. Would I want the ball in Kyle Lowry's hands? Someone who's poised, patient, can run an offense, can see the floor very well. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe the answer is shut the hell up. Tyrese Maxey's cooking, and that dude's going to the rim and going to the rack and finishing and one. He's even earning foul calls because he's that quick that nobody can stay in front of him. And that hypothetical I brought up moments ago of Joel Embiid getting the skip whistle, okay, that's an offensive foul. What a great charge. Well, guess what? It's going to be the ref doing the old hump because it's a block. And now Maxey's going to the line to get his and one, and Jimmy Butler's barking again. Spoelstra's face is red, barking again, getting in the face of whoever it is out there, whoever's going to end up screwing this one up because NBA referees suck. Tony Brothers, maybe? Now, what did you go with? Did you hit me with a little NXT? Did you hit me with a little NXT? Now, for the people who might be unaware of Whoop That Trick, I want you to close your eyes, unless you're driving, of course, and you can listen to Sports Talk with Broads Media with you on the car rides by going to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, and all your podcasting platforms. And if you leave a 5-star rating and a review, that would be greatly appreciated. So don't close your eyes if you're driving. But if you're in a situation where you're laying on the couch, you have this on the big screen, God bless you and your family. It's a scary sight on your television. But a picture WWE, 20,000 fans going bonkers. You walk out, your music's playing, and this is what you get. And the Sixers are going to whoop their trick against the Heat, baby, Wednesday night at the Center. At the Center. We're not playing games, dude. Like, if you're not fired up, go fuck yourself. If you're not fired up about the Sixers, then screw you. Come on, feel a little optimistic. You got the best player on the floor. You got the best player on the planet. You got the most big-skilled big man ever in the history of the damn game, who is elite. Let it rip, baby. Go into that night thinking we're going to kick some ass because this team's going to kick some ass. They are. They really are. This team is going to win. I feel confident about it. I feel good about it. This team is good. This team is hungry, and they've heard for a long time now, no Joel. They might not have a shot. They only have a shot if he comes back. But even if he does come back, how great will he be? And I'll raise my hand and even say that I was a part of that at one point. But guess what? You know, you hear that, you respond. Joel's been getting nuked by the entire NBA world forever now. Free throw merchant, this and that. Guy's not good enough. He can never win. He can never stay healthy, this and that. I mean, you don't think the guy is sick and tired of hearing that narrative every single year, every single time it comes to spring? All right, well, I mean, at some point, he's going to answer. I know he hasn't answered quick enough, but I feel confident in Joel Embiid's makeup that it might not be the exact path that we would have liked it, because by now, yes, I would have thought we'd see an Eastern Conference Finals with the big fella, but there's a perfect marriage between head coach, deepest roster, Tyrese Maxey's elevation. I mean, this is it. Like, this is the time. We could actually see plenty of reasons in years past where it wouldn't make as much sense to advance, but we were sort of sucked into the moment and thinking that, yes, they had flaws, but there's enough positives to overcome it, and we were wrong here. But I think there's less flaws on this team than with previous teams, and sometimes the separator could just be a hair, all right? And when you're constantly getting to game sevens, when you're getting to a game 6 in the second round, you're losing with quadruple doinks, that hair that could be the difference is obviously so massive that, come on, hop on board. Hop on board. All right, so you know me. I'm a big fan of sports talk radio, the craft, what it is, right? But I like to listen to out-of-market stuff because this is my job, and if I just listen to Philadelphia sports radio, then I would probably bang my head against the wall forever because it becomes work, right? Like I need something different where I can just listen to sports talk radio without thinking about it from a work level. So sometimes I branch out, and one of the shows I really do enjoy is up at WFAN, their midday show, which is BT and Sal. And they were talking about the Sixers and the Heat and who they'd rather see and would they rather face the Sixers and all that good stuff. So I actually grabbed a couple different audio cuts from their show because I thought it was pretty entertaining. I know we have to get there first, but I'm talking it into existence. We are going to see them. So let's take a listen here to sort of their rationale on who they'd rather see.
Yeah. Who would you rather beat? First round, Miami or Philadelphia?
I'd rather,
not face, obviously. I'm just talking about sheer fandom. Which team would give you the most enjoyment beating?
Boy, that's a good question. And I almost answered it immediately. And as you heard, I stopped myself. Then I almost answered it again. I stopped myself because it's a really a tough answer. Obviously, historically, the first answer is boom, Miami. But you know what? I'm going to actually say Philly. You know why? It's going to be more painful to their fan base. Because Miami... The Heat fans, they jump in, when the Heat are great, they're there. When the Heat are average, they ain't like us. They ain't like the Sixers. Sixer fans are always there. And you got the Philly Met thing, you got the Eagle Giant thing, you got the sheer 90 miles that separates us, you got Spike squawking over there on WIP. Give me the Sixers. I would love to take them. Even more than Miami, and Miami has really hurt us over the years, but I would say Philly. How about you?
I think I'm kind of with you, which is crazy.
It's always funny listening to the other side, and actually, the more I think about it, I'm going to hold off on some of the other cuts because we'll play them throughout the week where we're getting stoked for the playoffs and stoked for the 7-game series against the Knicks. But yeah, I mean, dude, use that if, like if that doesn't fire you up, that they want us. They want us because they think they could take us. They want us because they think that they can rip our hearts out of our damn chest and smush it into the ground. All right, they think they could kill us as fans. They want us because they think that we're so emotionally attached that when they beat us, we will be down and out. So come on, man. Like, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's give them what they want. You want the Sixers? You want the Sixers? Okay. I'll let you know how that goes. I'll tell you how that goes. Sixers kick ass. But we'll get there. That's for another day. Let's take our next call.
Hey, Broads. My name is Chance. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thanks, Chance.
And I'm pumped for Wednesday, man. I'm anxious, but I'm pumped. This Sixers Heat game is going to be amazing. It's going to be an absolute chess match between Nick Nurse and Eric Spoelstra, and I'm excited to see what both coaches bring to the table. We've seen these teams play each other depleted, healthy, and it will be exciting to watch Wednesday. With that being said, the Sixers should win. They are the better team, but playoff Jimmy is a real thing, so hopefully we can contain them. All right, bye.
So I want to open up my DraftKings Sportsbook app for 1 second and see what the line is because I haven't seen any sort of update. Terry Rozier. So the Sixers are -5.5. It's a good number. I'd feel a lot worse if it was 3. I'd feel a lot worse if it was 2.5, 3, 3.5. 5.5 is a comfortable enough number for me that I feel okay. If it was 1, 1.5, then Vegas would be saying, yo, dude, the Miami Heat have a real opportunity, a real shot here. The fact that it's sitting at the 5.5 screams Sixers to me. I like that number. I like that number a lot. To put it in perspective, let's see how Game 1 goes. Sunday, Milwaukee Bucks against Indiana. Milwaukee's at home. They're dealing with this Giannis issue, and Doc is a nightmare, and Damian Lillard. The whole thing is out of sorts. And the Indiana Pacers are favored by, they're favored by 1 point. Whew. What a world. What a world. Poor Doc, huh? All right, everybody. I'm ready for the game. I'd tip it off right now if I could. So we'll talk after the game. That's for damn sure. Wow. Sixers are going to kick ass. I feel it in my blood. Talk later. See you on the next one.